Take it easy.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome back. 2 o'clock on a pretty busy afternoon here. A ton of things moving around, including, yeah, of course, CART. We'll talk about that. Comes to market, doesn't do too well, pretty quickly to the downside. This one as well, having quite the afternoon here. Here's Pinterest on Investor Day. Wow, up 4.7% right now. And I was just watching this just before we came back there at 2 o'clock, trying to get back to day highs. Almost 5% coming into play. A couple of comments, notable ones coming through as far as, I think it was the CEO that was talking. Chief Content Officer, my bad, Malik Ducard, saying Pinterest is implementing shoppable video across the entire platform. Video content as well increased 170% year over year in Q2. So pretty good look as far as Pinterest is concerned. The Intel event also still underway. They didn't like the keynote, but back to the upside now. Intel and BABA apparently teaming up with some of the chips on the AI front. We'll talk about that. Here's how the S&P is looking currently. Amazon notably weak here, 2%. It's been that way all day long. More positivity, however, coming back into the rest of big tech, including Apple, up half. There's Meta, 0.8, Adobe, 1%, Microsoft, Google. NVIDIA, not so great. Same story with AMD, down today. It's been that way most of the day, but off the lows, as is Tesla right now, 0.5%. Not really doing a heck of a lot. Yeah, stocks downside overall. Treasury yields back to the upside. Bit of a reversal. If you were with us this morning, I was mentioning both the 2-year and the 10-year down for a second day in the row. Not so much anymore. Back higher ahead of what is to come tomorrow with Fitcher Powell. 2 o'clock. Make sure you're with us. We'll come back on 15 minutes early. We'll get you set and ready for the announcement at 2 p.m. And then we'll also bring you the press conference at 2:30. That's going to be the more important part. Frank Caberna coming up in 44 minutes. We'll see. And we'll get his take on what this means. There's also a whole bunch of other central banks with significant both announcements and releases coming out this week, so we'll talk to Frank about that coming up. Anyways, chips downside, we have Pinterest upside, we have Intel kind of chopping around. Everybody, though, guys, wants to know about CART.
I'll give you, see, this is...
Never heard of it.
This is the perfect, every now and then a GIF just tells the entire story here. So, without further ado, this was the CART IPO.
What was it? Let me see this.
And if you don't know who that is, this is Javier Baez, and he makes boatloads of money for Detroit. He essentially signed like one of those max, like 7-year, $175 million deals. That's him swinging at sliders this year. I think he bats about $1.90. He has no power. He can still field a little bit, but it was a monster swing and a miss, like way out in front. I will say this: the thing that makes me most unhappy is I made a decision that was a horrible one, and if you're not at day trader, then you probably, it's not something that'll matter. But we have 3 different stop orders that we can use. So the plan of action: go long, stop it out with a 42 open, stop it out 41.5, like that kind of a thing. Look for bids at any level where it tries to bounce. Look for an even dollar level bounce, and then break to the low. The slippage that I got using, I'd say not the best stop order, is this break. Worst possible fill, and then worst possible fill. I did eventually tighten things up, and the stops were much, much better. And then I even had the short and then made the high. Not bad. That's not bad. I had the short, was working, and then made the stop out the high. It's continuing to flush. Definitely a bit overvalued. There were some signs, I don't know, all morning long I was sort of saying the open interest felt really small relative to the amount of shares that they're opening up, coming out with, and then I did not necessarily heed that warning by lightening up. It is what it is, but I always say when you look at different trading strategies, you should try to put them in their own buckets, right? So you don't judge IPOs versus breakout trades or whatever your opening range. If you like dip buys at the open, that's nothing to do with IPOs. So this gets measured against ARM and like Rivian 2 years ago, and Coinbase when we had them, and Snowflake. You've got to look at those as in a bit of a group. And in that context, I've definitely seen worse, but always use the best stop order available to you when you have important levels breaking. Because I think I actually got slipped double what I needed to, even more than that. And that's going to happen to you. I kind of prioritize flexibility over speed, and that was a mistake here on ARM. And I did that because it was okay doing that when ARM opened up. Like ARM, that other stop was fine. And then I used it here on CART, and it was nasty on Instacart. So it is what it is, but lesson learned. They don't like the valuation. Ho hum. Well, I guess unless you're whoever had it at 127, and that's a few people that did that round. They don't like it even more. So no matter how bad it is, at least you didn't invest in this when it was at $127. In theory, that was like a pre-IPO invest. It can always be worse.
You know, it could always be worse. And yeah, we used the same stop order and had bad experiences with it. But thing is that we just went from long into a short. So we were long here at the IPO price. Of course, it comes out at 42. There's a dump out at 4, like me and Neil just said, 41.25. So big time slippage on that first piece. But we did get some out initially on the first pop. Then we bought some more and got more out. So all these outs are fine. And then there's the last final slippage down there through 41. And then we just started, and we went long again at 40 and got out again. And then after all of that, we finally started to go short. So right now we are in a $2. So we'll do this, man. Why not? It's a $2 winner right now for Instacart. Hopefully they'll come back down. I posted this on Twitter. I'm not going to, go over it like Neil did because you just heard it all. Bad round, bad valuation. It came out way too high. When the IPO price started at $31, that's where the listing came out last night at the IPO pricing. And then they busted it out at 42. Obviously they found as much demand as they possibly could. They priced it, they did what they could, and then this happened to the flush. So there was absolutely no defense of any major levels by Goldman or JPM or anybody. So they let Instacart fall to the dogs, and right now it is a downside move. So we went short, got stopped out there, so took profit, got stopped, and then this one is the one that's paying dividends right now. We only have 20% left. I do have a bid down here at $37.50. Nope. Hopefully that will fill. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But yeah, man, it could be a lot worse. So we lost about half. Well, we'll see when we get out of this. We lost about a little more than half on this one than we made on ARMS. So like Neil said, you put these trades kind of in a bucket. One works, one doesn't, and you just kind of move on. But yeah, obviously a disappointing day here because we get all ramped up. I mean, me and Neil were sitting here for an hour and a half waiting only to spit back capital back
just
to
staring at a screen.
It's like, yeah, what's going on? And then eventually it broke.
But then like when on Coinbase's day, everyone looks at like the ARM one as if that was good. ARM compared to Rivian or Coinbase or Snowflake was not, like ARM wasn't even that great compared to some of the other ones. But like I said, you put it into a bit of a bucket there. I'm in ARM right now, but we're going to go into the rundown. ARM's you can see it on the rundown, so we have a lot to get to. I kind of feel like we should throw pins on there somehow, but I don't know what you take out. Yeah, it's fine, but Pinterest on the move is worth adding because Intel, BABA move, but Pinterest's move was just as impressive as Intel's, I want to say. So we will talk about some Pinterest on their investor day as well.
Yeah, I mentioned the quote there from the Investor Day today for Pinterest. Neil, 15% meanwhile, getting absolutely crushed here today. You showed that, I don't even know what it was.
Here it comes, I'll show it.
The man cave / garage / whatever it was. Anyways, $1 billion in senior notes offering. That was the news if you missed it this morning. But ouch, 15% on, what is this?
This?
Yeah.
The Neo House. Look, if they don't sell cars, they can always, this could be the backdrop there.
I mean, it looks cool.
Prefabbed house. Yeah, let's fix it. Fix the cars, and then you can do the houses. But yeah, in all seriousness, though, Brendo, investors definitely not liking this one. I talked about how I felt about this stock on the midday. Enough. I don't believe in the battery swap technology. It's also it's a premium brand at a time where the Chinese consumer is being squeezed. And they don't focus enough on SUVs. But you brought up a good point this morning that these smaller cars could have a market in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, XPeng the first to jump at that market, so whether or not NIO will follow suit remains to be seen. I want to mention this as well. If you go out to a daily chart, this is June. So highest volume today, downside since June on NIO, guys.
Oh, there it is. Never mind. Sorry, no, we just got just a little bit of an update on the platform at Day Trade of the World. New feature being added to it. I just got the email seconds after Sean did for that one. That Neo House thing is like a little bit weird, no? I feel like I don't
know enough about it.
I've never heard about it until today, and it sounds ridiculous as far as I'm concerned.
Why?
Well, it's like,
It's a prefab house.
But shouldn't to me, like companies that aren't making money should try to focus on what they do best first, and then make money, and then go.
I don't know. Like Amazon went into different routes. I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't own this stock.
I don't. Well, okay, I don't either. So it's who am I to say?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, it's just weird. I'd never heard about it until now. Just a couple of things here because I showed you ARM. I should tell you where I'm getting out. Oh goodness, now I got this wick here. So ARM has been hanging at VWAP. I had this theory that after the open of CART, that you might get a run to the upside. By the way, when CART opened, I did get trailed out of ARM. And then I'm like, if that ends up being a local high, I want to short that local high. We said that in the morning, so I'm in it. I haven't really added to it because I was only trading CART at the time, and it looks like it's just hugging VWAP here. I think that can be a bit of a breakdown. We'll see what happens to it.
They fixed the Qs already.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes. How did that get through there? Good.
You know what? Big shout out to the team because we pointed that out. You guys pointed that out yesterday.
That was quick.
And we just kind of threw it in the chat. It's like, hey, can we fix that so people can see like the actual letter? And within one day, they've managed to fix it. So
we got SQ, we got TQ.
I don't know who in particular to thank for that, but let's go. Maybe it's Fabian Marine. Oh, it looks like of course Mark. Of course it was Mark. You know what? You guys see Randy, you see Fabian Ramin, you'll see Rob every now and then. You don't see Mark on our team, and that's like he's always around like fixing things, doing something brand new. He does a little bit of everything around here. So shout out to Mark. Sometimes you'll see him on a ladder. But yeah, that's fantastic.
Guy on ladder.
Obviously, if it wasn't that hard to do, and I think like Square probably is fixed now too.
It is. That's what
it would have said SO.
It says SQ.
Yeah, that's. Good
okay,
job.
I just want to quickly here because we could talk. Well, first of all, let's go, man. I mean, Neo. Money. All right, that's enough. Was just a good idea to begin with here, right? So we're going to find out for Neo right there. So you're going to see here, we shorted it earlier on, but the problem is that it never came up to give us more shares. So it's not a problem. It's just it's not a big of a trade as it probably should be, which is why we don't have any more outs as we just hold on to one last piece to see if we can make this play. But it's $1 in the money. Well, it's 80 cents in the money. We basically had the best price we could have possibly had. I mean, I didn't want to put anything on at 8 o'clock, which would have been in here 980, which probably would have been it. The minute this started to move down, it was around 9 o'clock. We took the short, and then as they say, rest is history. Got a piece out at 9, and then now it's just dripping a little bit lower. You see this 890? That's about as easy as it gets for me. So let's go over here to NIO and just demonstrate to you what's going on with our software.
Said that out loud.
8.92 right there. We put it out. That's where we're going to get it. We're going to get out right there. Hey, there's Mark, speak of the devil. Thanks for fixing. Were you the one responsible for fixing the Qs at the bottom? Yes, so we got that one right. So that was Mark. Thank you,
still
Mark,
haven't seen him.
for all of that one because it's well appreciated here on the show. So there's my stop out. And then, again, here's the TQQ right now. Oh, I wanted to address the super chat, and I actually missed your answer because I was waiting to see what Neil was saying there. Did you answer it? Did you? Oh, no, it's already gone. Oh, there it is right here. So you just kind of asked me here, Jorge or George, why shorting the TQQ instead of buying the SQQ? So again, thank you for the super chat. I mean, that's what it's all about. I'm going to answer your question right now. And I just kind of said it the other way around. Why not? Like, what is the deal with going long one and short the other? So I didn't see your answer, but I'll answer it for you. Maybe it has something to do with pay for shorts and the fact that a lot of brokers or trading houses or whoever you're trading with, maybe yourself as well, you don't have a margin account. So if you don't have a margin account, then you're probably not going to be able to short.
Exactly.
So then you would go long on the SQQ. For me, no problems with going short. So right here, this is completely, there it is. Let's go, man.
Oh my God.
So glad that we found these futures, man, and we're back onto this because there it is. Yes, let's get going out here as we ride the thing is, man, is like sometimes I'm playing these stocks and I get so frustrated because they hit key levels and then it's like, something happens, like Apple just ripping uncontrollably or Meta. And I love trading equity. I mean, let's just stay perfectly clear on all of that, man. I have over 200 trades today, all in equity names. But so that's the answer, George. I hope I answered that for you there. Is we don't have any problems borrowing stock. So just like the TQQ, you see how right now it's 0.85. Well, the SQQ will be the exact same thing, just the other way, right? And so there it is. So now it's well, that doesn't make any sense. Now it's 0.991%. But the idea is, and I don't know why they're different right now, but they're supposed to be identical. So as the SQQ goes one way, TQQ goes the other. So I'm going to find out why there's that much of a difference. Like I mean, again, because the spread is really tight, like 0.95, 0.85. So that is a little bit of a difference. So that is bugging me a little bit. But we will get to the bottom, or I will get to the bottom of that right now. Maybe it's just the opening print I could see maybe back and forth. I don't know, where was the opening print here at 9:30? I mean, that would be maybe the difference, or based on yesterday's closing print right at 4 o'clock.
I think the problem might be that the closing print can get influenced by single orders. So like maybe if one gets traded more than the other, you could have some kind of a skewed close print, and then like hedges get thrown out. I've seen
the idea behind it would be.
Yeah, like I've seen that happen on like leveraged buyouts have arbitrage opportunities if it's like an all stock deal, and sometimes you'll have someone exiting a position at the close, which causes one to move, but then the other doesn't. So there was no hedge. Then you look at the prices, and it's like, well, that didn't make any sense. No one had an opportunity to close that. Anyways, it's not a huge deal, but
I just wanted to make sure if that did not answer your question, George, then put it in there in Bears versus Bulls. We'll get that to us. So, all right, let's go back over to the desk. NEO, great stock. It's the #1 name here on the sticky note besides CART, but CART was already easy. We talked about that. So let's go talk about Square.
Yeah, back to the upside right now. In fact, I just saw trying to hold above $50 here for Block. So pretty good look after the initial dump. If you missed it yesterday, Square, so how did I break it down today? When Square renamed to Block, Square remained a thing. Block was just the cryptocurrency side of the business. So Square is the payment side, Block the cryptocurrency side. The payment side, Square had its own CEO. Jack Dorsey was still in charge of what was Block. So the payment side, Square CEO has left. Jack is taking over now both sides of the deal. So downside in a big way after the close yesterday on that was SQ, but trying to hold on to those levels from yesterday.
Yeah, and Alex Markgraf, analyst at KeyBank Capital Markets, basically reiterated exactly what you just said there. He says this departure could be an indication of the level of importance placed on the Square business in the context of the broader block. So yeah, sad to see, longtime leader, or actually not long, a short time. I think she was there for 6 months or so. But yeah, you and I were talking off camera today. My brother-in-law uses this at his business, and he talks a lot about how much he loves it. But my question to him was, is there any upselling? Are there any options at which they can extract more money from you? And his answer was no. Yeah.
And with Jack Dorsey so focused, obviously, on crypto or hopes of crypto, how much is he actually going to be investing in, and time-wise anyways, investing in the payment side? My barber uses it too. It's great. They can come right to the chair, and you can pay right in the chair. It's a great product. But like you said, what's the next? That's the thing. What's the next offering? What's the next option here for Square?
Sorry, I just got a bunk off for my fantasy league, and we were just talking about it. Block was a trade this morning. You got the short the pop situation. The 52-week low was 51.25. That was literally yesterday's close, so that's like right here. So it opened up underneath. There was never a push into it, so off the pre-market highs and support levels or resistance levels was all there was. I'm still in. I'm looking for a re-entry. If the market's going to roll over here, underneath 50 on Block makes some sense. Not to pivot away, but I did not notice this until it was just pointed out in the chat about nowish. Some things are happening on AMC. What? AMC's up 3%. And now keep in mind, AMC was down like 6 or 7% at the low. So the fact that it's up 3 means it's gone 10% from the bottom right now. So big levels getting taken out on AMC. Obviously, the daily chart's not very pretty for AMC, but you celebrate the little wins that the apes can have at this particular moment. I don't know what's up with my 15, but 8 was a big level. 860, also a big one up here. If it can hold above 8. As usual, my first impulse is if there's nothing particular going on, look for a fade opportunity, but this needs to calm itself down a little bit before I even think about that. So AMC, I'll give this one because we never really have any reason to hit that. So I'll give that one to the apes. A little bit of a reprieve for them right now. So they got to be happy. As I said, if it fails the 8 level, there'd be a cheeky little short in there. Locates are free right now. But I'm generally liking the reversal trade here. So either 8 or 850 maybe it's maybe closer to 860 when I pull up that 15-minute chart. But one or the other, I don't want to chase this one to the long side. If you're long at like VWAP or 770 or 780, those are better longs. I just noticed it now, so I'm looking for the short and waiting patiently for it up here.
All right, we'll just take that right now, bang. $2, oh, we would have got it. I was waiting for 55s. They're on Instacart. Right now, down $2 in the money right now for Instacart, as it is starting to bleed down just a little bit here. So that's, again, you know, this is what we're talking about, man. Sharpen those knives, get those tools out, because you got to have different tools in your toolbox. You don't just going. We made a lot of money going long on ARM day one, but then we shorted the living you know what out of it the last couple days, and including today, as there goes Instacart right now, man. 250 now in the money, as we just wicked down to 37. So here we go, man. Well, that would have been more than that almost. Trying to break down lower right now is Instacart. So there it is right now. Nice move to the downside as we're making back some of that screwed up trade that we had earlier on today. But again, Instacart, the funny thing is that everybody's going to come in and see like, hey, Instacart's up 25% today, but those of you that know, and Instacart is nowhere near up 25% today, but it is nice when you price the thing at 31 and get the closing price at like 33. Let's hope it's going to show a nice up day. But there it goes. See you later. Now we're $3 in the money. So right here, man, we smoking. We're not on anything. I mean, today, does Instacart deliver weed or what? Because here's a nice little downside move right now.
It's legal.
And don't get high on your own supply, but Instacart coming back down here. Not enough supply of shares, Brendo, or maybe there's too many and everybody is selling down here. Square, we've already shorted that name. That's going to be, that was a big trade for us earlier on in the day. We've done absolutely nothing since. Short, all the way there. We got stopped out. Now we're holding a small piece to see if we can get more up here somewhere, 50-50, something like that. But yeah, man, I'm just in love with this Instacart trade.
The option on the wrong side of things for Cart today. I was just reading through some of the comments that came out of this Intel event. It was kind of interesting. The initial move, if you look at the chart, it was down on the initial speak and the initial speech that came from it. There really wasn't anything that jumps out as far as what the CEO said that was overly bad. But I mean, it was maybe a sell the news kind of event, and then right back up on the note that Alibaba has said it will start using the new Intel central processor chips to serve its large language model. So Baba going to stick with Intel for their AI.
Yeah, that's an interesting look there. This is what I was reading, Brendo. They're jumping on the AI bandwagon. Oh, plenty here. Have a look here. A new Intel chip due in December will be able to run generative artificial intelligence chatbot on a laptop rather than having to tap into cloud data centers for computing power. And that is going to be good for businesses who don't want to send their sensitive data off their own computer and onto somebody else's servers. So we'll have to wait and see how that does, because my understanding was CPUs were single thread, not multi-thread. So I really want to see how this works in reality.
I mean, I think with everything, it gets to a point where, you know, we can even have it on our phone. It'll just get smaller and smaller and smaller as a form factor. But no, as I was saying, I mean, it was an interesting move, guys. When that first started, the selling was pretty heavy, but I didn't see a reason for it.
Well, I don't know, sell the news kind of event. It just doesn't, it didn't necessarily matter. I wasn't listening to it when it happened. Obviously, we were looking at other things at the time, but sometimes it just happens to be nothing crazy and we sell when it starts. Like, look at the Apple event, right? Like, they'll get to a certain point and there's just always like a sell. Like, they price the new phone and then that's the moment that everything dumps off, or someone leaves the stage and then that's the moment it dumps off. So I'm not really sure if you want to read too much into it. Maybe people were willing to ring the register because the stock had been on such a great little turn on the upside the last little bit. But if you look at this double top, 37.5, we're concerned with price action here. It got in there today, failed at the open, tried to climb back up before the event, broke it down, and now where are we sitting? Right back at 37.5, the previous resistance on the daily. So I just want to play the level. If it's going to pull back again, I'm short here. It's risking just over 10 cents. Call it 15 cents. So once we get 1-to-1, then look for a little bit lower on Intel. Strong move for them. Just got to remember where it's coming from. So good rebound off the lows. I just feel like the inflection point is down here at that 37.5. If it breaks out the top, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. AMC got back underneath 8. So I waited for it to look like it was failing the 8 level, and I did take it. I said I was only looking for short. Now, you can sit there and short at 808. I was never looking for that. I always want to see it back underneath that key price. And once it shows me that, I'll short that level. And because you figure there's some long stops that probably trigger down there. Essentially, it's just risking an extra 5 cents, but to each their own. If it breaks out this high, I wait till it gets to like the 50 level or back down underneath that 8. So I am into AMC right now. So short intel off of the local high at 37.5. You also have the market topping out a little bit, which I think makes a little bit of a dent. That story not really doing much in terms of load up what Alibaba was already doing. But it is worth mentioning, these are higher lows on Alibaba.
Look at card.
The caveat being this is a Chinese ADR, so it might not do anything in the afternoon. But this is a potential breakout here on Alibaba after liquidity grab underneath, support, and then another one at 86. A breakout of the local high, this would be like 87.40, would be incredibly bullish. That said, these things in the afternoon, you never really know how they're going to go. BABA's generally the one. If I have to trade a Chinese ADR, it's usually this one in the afternoon. 87.40 looks juicy. No, PDD in the mornings. I don't think I've ever traded PDD after like 1 or 2 o'clock. NEO I've done a couple times, and usually that never really does anything. It's not like it loses, it just doesn't go. BABA once or twice will go in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I like the bottom that this thing just made with higher lows. So the breakout on BABA actually is pretty interesting as they are snaking the pipes here.
Oh, man. Look, we could have made back like every single damn thing, but how the heck do I know that Instacart is going to get shit canned like this? I mean, this is just, we're now $3 in the money. Like, it just touched 36.50 here. Like, I cannot, honestly, like, no joking aside, like, a big name like this that came with, it didn't come with as much fanfare, I don't think, obviously, as ARM, but that's come out like this, I really can't remember. And again, we're fine. Like I said, we've making back some of what we lost, so it's fine. We're still down on the stock. But the thing is like, I can't remember the last time we actually finished this worse down, like on a big name day one. You know, it could make it all back. I don't know where we're going to go from here. We only have 10% left, so everything is fine. But the idea here is like from 42 open. So now you're down 10% off that open price, and even more, like about 13, 14% in total, even a little bit more than that as we continue to grind lower. I think Instacart at one point was up 40%. So you're down about 18% from its high, and that is really strange. Like, and now, like I said, we're adding more and more tools. Shout out to Chris and everybody out there that was asking me about how to trade this. I mean, really the thing is that we just went long and we got out of the way once the range broke. The problem is 42. For me, the range was all the way down there to 40. So we lost about $2 on, our first loss was about 50 to 60 cents. We talked about that bad slip. So it was actually about 70 cents on a much bigger piece. You know, because like if you go in with 1,000 shares and you get out on that, you're going to lose $1. Like it's going to be a lot. And I didn't short rate here 1,000 shares. So the fact that it's come all the way back down, I mean, I wish we would have. But this is something new to me for IPOs. And like there's that 38. This is why we don't have many shares left, because when we shorted 39.70 or whatever, and we just kept on giving us this opportunity to get out at 39, we took out about half of the trade, not about, exactly half of the trade there. Then half again at this bottom, which was 38.50. Then we took out another piece right there on that local bottom of 37.50 when it came in. Now we're down to 36.50. So I think we just wait until the close and see exactly what happens with Instacart, and make sure that you do join me on the recap show. We'll have Brian Shannon, 300,000 Twitter followers coming through, wrote the book on anchored VWAP. So we'll be talking to him about that and all about the market moves, and we'll see if he had Instacart. Maybe I'll draw the anchored VWAP here on the open, but I guess I don't think that's really going to matter, because the 50-period moving average will probably be close enough to it. That's $38.
I got to, there's a question by Jay Lee here. Is CART SSR? The answer is going to be no. And I understand, I know why you're asking that. It makes, and you know what, it's actually not a bad question, because it is down from the open. When you open up at $42, obviously $4.20 to the downside. Right. Once this thing broke 37.8, it was down 10% from the open price. But the short sell restriction rule is from the previous close. And in the particular case of an IPO, the previous close should be the issue price. So my understanding is it is not. All that being said, like maybe that happens. I don't know if it happens tomorrow. Generally speaking, now I'm not saying this stock is going. I'm not saying the stock is going to $30, but the last time an IPO within a day or two got down to its issue price, not the open price, the issue price, that is a typically defended number. For obvious reasons, sometimes you get the market makers wanting to buy that. So I'm not saying we get to $30. It's obviously $7 away. But if you were to get down to that price, that gets pretty interesting if that price gets defended or icebergs show up. So no, it's not going to be SSR today. I mean, maybe it does something like that tomorrow, but actually it's a weird rule because it doesn't go SSR when really there should be a mechanism for it to. When you think about it, there should be a better mechanism for that. But no, the answer is no.
All right, I was just looking at the ARM, as the guys were saying. Not much to do for ARM today. Yeah, it's down 4.5%, but very, very sideways. Neil, you were asking about this. Here is, get ready for AAPL coming to a movie theater near you.
All right.
Would you?
I don't like beer in general or ale, so no. And I don't want to watch a movie tipsy either, right? That's just not my luck. I get it. You know, people like to do it. But Brendo, I want to talk about this Apple headline.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot.
This is really important. I think that this is why we've been running up the entire time. Have a look at this. Apple's soaring demand in China. The iPhone 15 causes website crash and sells out in under a minute. I mean, I did not expect this. I didn't, because I thought they were just basically recycling the 14 when I watched it. So I mean, like it.
Apparently it's lighter. I was reading that today. It's lighter than any other model. But anyways, I'm not really surprised. Honestly, it's going to sell out, obviously. Neil, would you have an AAPL at an AMC theater?
What's hilarious, you had that up and I went to call up AMC because I'm like, oh, we're going to talk about the next. And I actually typed APE into my level 2. Sometimes it's like a little bit of suggestion. I don't know. I'll try anything. First of all, I'll answer this. Like I don't drink as much beer as when I was younger. But A, I don't mind beer at all, and B, I certainly don't mind watching a movie tipsy. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. So, to each their own. I'm not gonna.
I mean, if one beer gets you tipsy, then I'm not sure what's.
Like
I guess you don't drink much. Not you, but I'm just saying.
But I don't drink as much as I used to.
No, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take as much. Obviously, when you're younger, you probably build up a tolerance. But
you now I just drink Cristal.
You can watch a movie with a little something, make it better. Like I'm not watching Dave Chappelle in whatever. I'm not going to get into it. Anyways, let's just get back to business because before I say something stupid. AMC, I was just in it off at 8, just took out 805, so I want to get out of that one. Looking a little bit strong. Like it looked like it was rolling over in this consolidation, but you know how I roll. Just going to jump out of that trade. It's still going upside. Now, if it were to carry through, and when I say carry through, I mean from here, like this area, kind of gapping into, call it yesterday's high up there. It's not really yesterday's high. It's kind of like 2 days ago. So we're going back into Friday's high, like 860-ish. It's more like 855. So like that's the next area where I think you can have some bag holders. I'd like to have something to work off of where anyone holding a long is looking to take some profit. So I want to have relatively tight stops. I'm not really thinking about the long at this point. I don't think that's a terribly interesting. Like it's a catalyst because it's a squeezable stock. It's not a catalyst because it matters. And that's fine. Like the Taylor Swift thing gave a bit of a bounce for AMC, which oddly enough, the Taylor Swift thing is actually a bigger piece of news when it came out. But let's see what happens with AMC. I'm not going to jump into the short unless it gets a lot higher. It fails 8 again. To go back, what's interesting is the market just bounced a bit. So I think I got fortunate. I got first fills out on Intel. Let's go to the 3-minute instead of the 15. Like we broke VWAP. I was short to consolidation. So fail 37.5. Get in the consolidation, local bottom, get some out. I'm looking for a flat bottom break, but Intel might not flat bottom break if NASDAQ breaks out. It would be nice if it could go counter trend for a bit, but this NASDAQ's starting to break out a little bit. If it goes green, my guess is Intel's going to be kaputs on the short side of the trade. But APE, I'll wait till it gets to 850. I'm not really thinking the long there. I generally am in the mode of short the pops until it does something crazy. And before anybody asks me, what's the definition of something crazy? I think the big squeezes happen when you take out the monster level. So you look at it since the split, if it gets through like 925, like in here, like break that out, and shorts get real nervous because it's breaking the channel and can go parabolic. Like the high after that is like 14 bucks. Like those are the gaps I'm usually looking for, not the 50 to 60 cent AMC gaps. And maybe that's just clinging to back when this thing used to trade like it was Carvana. But I think it can happen. We've seen reverse splits do moves like that in the past. And certainly recently they've been doing that as well. So I'll look for the next short opportunity in AMC 850, 860.
All right. Yeah, I'm just looking here. AMD is getting a little spicy right now as we start to approach 103. This is a level that we had written down for a while. We shorted this yesterday as well. I think it was at 102. It's getting close. So we're going to sit there and wait for that one as well. We're on ARM. So again, ARM was another one that we traded today quite well as well right there. But again, it's kind of doing absolutely nothing right now. So short, out. Got stopped. So we're actually out of it now. So we're still net positive. Got stopped out there at 55.60 off of a 55.40. So again, 20 cents worth of a hit. That right there is 54.80. So, 70 cents worth of a win. So anyways, good trading so far on ARM, but putting me to sleep just a little bit.
Apple's
and
flying.
there goes, Apple flying right now. I mean, anyone that's doubting the iPhone or anything like that is obviously taking this on the chin a little bit here. We got out of the TQQs, so we got out of half there and half there. So it's actually, as much as we were talking about how great of a short the Qs were right there, it just got taken out, and there it goes right now, upside right here. NQZ23, the new contract trying to go. Remember, you're now 23 and a half hours away from Fed rates, right? And we're going to have Frank coming on. We're going to talk all about that, but he's just going to talk not about what to expect tomorrow, but maybe how that may affect different trading instruments, because tomorrow we are at 99 problems and the Fed ain't got one, because tomorrow they're just going to stay put. This is never, when it's like this, it's not wrong. So you are going to get a flat push tomorrow, and then we'll wait to hear on the talk. So that's
like it's never been at 100%, essentially 100%.
I don't think it can ever be at 100.
No, like it's never been 99
Yeah.
and then been wrong. Like that is completely unprecedented. That's why we say it's not happening. Right?
Push the pause button. Yeah, exactly. So they'll pause the rates, and then even going on to November, it was still a very, very high percentage.
BOVESPA broke.
For that as well. Wow. Instacart right now, guys, and I know we're going to go to Brendan for a read here in a second, but Instacart is right now making new lows and putting a little bit of money back in our pocket there from what we've lost. Holy shit, holy God. Wow. This is a nice move. We just, I put it at 38. I just tweeted out that my stop on this is going to be the 50-period moving average. So we'll kick it back to Brendan right now and change our stop to 37.50. This is a good one.
Well, it's not really Brendan.
Brendo?
Heyo.
A rundown brought to you by Trade Ideas, real-time scanning and alerting used on the desk by everyone you see on the show. See what's moving in the moment. Check out the QR code, bottom right corner of the screen, guys. Take advantage of this if you haven't. Great deal, 20% off. TraderTV20. Shout out to our friends over at Trade Ideas.
Take advantage of it. We use it every single day. That's sort of the thing. What actually led us to Trade Ideas was, be honest, like multiple people on the floor have been using that for years. I know somebody that was on that almost when they first came out. Baba broke out. This will be hilarious because I keystroked Alibaba right here and was like, oh, I put the stop for the local high. I'm like, oh, no, I want the high of the day break. Oh, that was good too. Ended up making like 1 cent on that because I got out right away. Like I didn't want it at that moment, so I got out 1 cent. It broke 87.40, looking like it's having some trouble at the 70 level. The market is 0.09 away, the NASDAQ, from going green. So you are in the midst of a breakout. Apple is absolutely flying. Just to remember, like Baba is holding this level on the daily. It's still stocked in. The daily chart doesn't look very good. But, this is the but. Like the breakout here, wipe out bottom, close right back up at 87. Wipe out bottom, higher low, breaking out the top. That's why I like this breakout setup. I'm kind of hoping it can get to 88 before we hit 3 o'clock, when usually these Chinese ADRs fall asleep. So if it can get there, I will be taking out. If it gets to 88, I'll be pretty thrilled. Typically, you try to make those moves on the Chinese ADRs pretty quickly because they can run out of steam fast. We were just talking about how strong Apple was. I'm just going to join the trend here if I can catch it. Yesterday's high got taken out by about 20 cents. let's call it not a huge move above yesterday's top, but we do have a little wick high. Support down here either at 179.15. I kind of like the 179 even. So I'm going to go dip buy hunting on Apple. If the market's going to go green today, why not take the leader of the pack? Early this morning, there was a point where the market was down, you know, like 0.8% or whatever it was, and Apple was down 0.1 or close enough to flat.
Yeah.
And now you got the Apple almost up 1% when the market is flat. So follow the leader.
Follow
and
the
that
leader.
is Apple. Kenny Boy saying Nikola is moving. Well, of course Nikola's moving. I mean, when the market's going to the upside, generally speaking, like the best and strongest companies are going to tend to get bought up as people are looking. I'm kidding about that. Nikola's not moving. Not really. To me, this doesn't count for Nikola moving. That's a lot of barcoding. It's not breaking any highs. Squeeze names have to squeeze. That sounds obvious. And I said this yesterday when we had the long in Nikola, that the 175-ish, that's the 200 period at 170, that's the 50 period at 180. That's why I said 175. It's kind of in the middle of those. I was looking for this to be a fade in there. And then if it takes out the major moving averages, then the sucker can squeeze to the upside. Shorts covering are how these things go, right? And I don't think any shorts are necessarily freaking unless we break here, maybe get above $2 on Nikola. Like if AMC gets through $9. AMC gets through 9 and starts really churning, then some people are going to get nervous. And you start thinking about things like halts to the upside and all that other good stuff that people look out for the longs. Nikola, it's not there yet. Not yet.
Nikola, yes, Nikola Tesla. All right, so just an update here. I'm going to sneeze in about a couple seconds here, maybe. We are going to watch out. No, it doesn't matter. We're going to watch out for 37.50 right there, the break coming through. So not 34.50, 37.50 right there for the break.
Intel.
Intel's moving. Is it? Is that what we're going to talk about?
You weren't talking about Intel just now?
No, is Intel the same price? I was talking about Cart. Instacart, 30.
Oh, okay. I'm not making
750. Oh yeah, that is Intel.
No, this is that key level on Intel on the daily. Like I'm short in front of it. I waited for it to get back. I'm reloading. I just assumed that's what you were talking about. They're at the same price at the same time. But if it breaks this top, I don't think you fight this at 37.5 on Intel. I just get out. And there was a great question. Why don't you someone asked us why we don't always reverse long instantly when we cover a short. There are times when I'll do it. And we usually say, I like the reverse at this price. It's a big level, I'll do it. And then there's other times where you just don't want to always make that immediate decision. Like you're looking for a certain direction, the trade doesn't work, you just get out of it. And other times it's such a key level, it's a clear trend reversal. I do that here at 37.5 if it does. What happened?
No, I was going to get long. There's a stock that just halted here, Bird Global. I don't know. Again, nothing happening right here. BRDS. I feel like this is not.
That's not all this.
No, it looks like a reverse split. Why?
Long.
Why these things? No.
Oh, there's no
a while ago, reverse split. So reverse split back in May. What a disaster. Honestly, this is not Allbirds. This is not.
No,
it's
not Allbirds.
No, because
great shoes by the way.
Why a company is allowed to sort of IPO somewhere around $8 or $9? And maybe I'm talking incorrectly here because I have no idea about this stock, but just gets crushed all the way down, and then basically into infinity, goes down to 6 cents, then goes.
So this was halted news pending.
Yeah, Brendan's going to have this news pending, but it was just bumped up from 70 up to 109 there. I just bring it to everyone's attention because it hit on the scanner. So right now tapping 109, halting 109. What's up, B?
So this is a micro mobility company is. They announced the acquisition of a company called Spin for $19 million. So looks like that was the halt, guys.
So a company which is getting
beaten
This is
up. Too much. This is too much.
A company which is getting beaten up and is reverse split is making an acquisition, and it's going to squeeze higher.
Is it like Harmony Gold Mines or whatever that was? Or
HYMC.
Is that what they're doing?
Just by the way, this has done 500,000 shares worth of volume, so that's incredibly illiquid. Obviously, at this particular point. So just be careful. We always say be careful trading.
First of all, it's not even grayed out in our system. So that's
I won't even put an order because it's not showing up how it's supposed to when it's halted.
I could have got long 109. That's why I kind of pounded the table there. But
the dollar break's not bad. Usually.
That's why I thought it was going to be. I'm glad Brendan brought the news because I thought it was just a clean dollar break right there today. but like I guess it had zero volume
And then halted
and
midday.
then just I don't know.
It halted at noon.
Anyways, BRDS.
Yeah,
We'll talk about when it opens up, and then we'll get that going. All right, what else you guys want to trade? Let's look at AMD, because AMD was getting close to that level. We did get stopped out of our futures trade, whereas should be back in the pocket now, but there it is, AMD. Ooh, what? No.
It didn't get there.
What the hell? 86?
I'm at 88. Oh, no, don't, not to, come on, son. Come on, son. Sometimes it'd be like that.
No, man, we probably would have made back Serenity now.
We're the trader that used to always say that. Serenity. Now, I took 2 shots at this sucker, like off the 101, in front of VWAP. It's like once, twice. Then you wait for 103, and then it runs away. This is a type This is a type of trade, and like, if it gets back there again, it's usually never as good the second time through. Like, that's the wick that you want. You like 103. That is the wick entry that you want up there. Like, you want that, I guess, 84, 85. Why am I Eric Lindrassing it? No. 88.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You just miss it by pennies. I was actually at 89. Stupid. You're at Lindros. I was at McGillney right there.
I love Alexander McGillney, by the way. That's frustrating. But you know what's never frustrating? He's always on time. We're never going to give him up, and he's never going to let us down. We have Mr.
That's for sure.
Frank Caberna.
Never mind on time. The guy's always early. Who are we kidding? Great to see you, and I hope you're feeling much better after being under the weather last week. As we head into, as you very well know, a very, very important week, not only for North America and what is to come from the central bank, the Fed tomorrow, but this is happening in many, many different places this week. So let's jump right into it. First off, how are you feeling?
Feeling great. Glad to be back here with you and the boys here on Tuesday afternoon. And yeah, hopefully preparing everybody for what should be a pretty wild rest of the week. It's felt pretty quiet, especially yesterday, one of the quietest days across every major asset class as we prepare for the Fed and then a bunch of central bankers globally to speak afterwards. Everybody prepared for what not necessarily the FOMC will do tomorrow. We'll speak to those odds in a second, but what they'll say, and that'll come out around 2 p.m. And then right to follow, though, Brendan, and this should definitely shift Forex markets as well as interest rates, and those have had knock-on effects, obviously, in the stock world. The Swiss National Bank is expected to hike 25 basis points tomorrow night, Thursday early morning. And then we have the Bank of England on Thursday morning. And then following that, the Bank of Japan, England expected to hike 25 basis points as well. Japan likely to do nothing. But the theme this week, Brendan, is less of, will they or won't they from the Fed's perspective or from the SNB's perspective or the BOE or BOJ, but what are all these central bankers going to say? Because we have encapsulated in that schedule North America, Europe, and Asia, and very different stories being told across those 3 different economic landscapes. And you know better than anyone that even though the odds are essentially nil of a rate hike from the Fed tomorrow, and it's priced in that the Swiss are going to hike 25 basis points, it's priced in that the UK is going to hike 25 basis points, the rhetoric that comes out will absolutely move markets. As you see here, those odds are right at 99% of what they're expected to do in September coming tomorrow afternoon. But if you look out to the odds of next meeting in November or the meeting after that in December, very close to 50-50. It's about 60-40 hold versus hike. And I mean, tomorrow's meeting will set that course, because by the time we get to November, by the time we get to December, Brendan, those charts will look just like that one. It'll be 99% on one side and 1% on another side. But the price action that we'll get off of tomorrow's press conference from the Fed will dictate where we will be in the future. And you'll see, like I say, knock-on effects across stocks and everything else. I mean, we're pushing through the highs in Treasury rates as we speak. So even though they're not going to hike tomorrow, the rhetoric that comes out of Powell will absolutely move markets at a pretty vulnerable point in time right now.
Yeah, it's been, I guess, 2 or 3 meetings here in a row now where we've had this, type of setup where it's not necessarily about what happens at 2 o'clock. Everyone kind of knows going into it what's going to happen. It's more about what comes out of Fed Chair Powell's mouth at 2:30. And if you go back to the last time when we got that quote unquote hawkish pause, if you want to call it that still, will we see another one of those? A lot of people, really hung their hat on the fact that there was more to come. And as you said, the market's kind of following suit with that right now. I mean, is there still more hawkish comments that he could come up with to echo the same coming up tomorrow? And if so, what happens to that, 99% versus 1% going into that December meeting?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. And yeah, to your point, it's almost been the Fed days where they're not scheduled to do anything that we see some of the greatest volatility, because like I say, they set the course for that next meeting. It's almost like they don't want to surprise you when they actually take action. They want to surprise you in the weeks and months leading up to that action. And the market believes that there's more room for hawkish comments. I mean, given the state of the global economy and the fact that the ECB said last week that they're not likely to hike anymore, and there's obviously worries in China and the Japanese economy. I mean, the Japanese economy never really picked up the same as other economies after the pandemic. You look at this dollar chart, and you have to say that the market still believes there is room for further hawkish comments or further U.S. strength relative to these other global economies, because the Bank of Japan, say what you will about them, they've been, if anything, kind of a nice neutral barometer for how hawkish the U.S. central bankers have been, given that they haven't moved rates at all. The story relative to the euro or the pound has been somewhat less transparent, given that they've been hiking rates as well. So there's been U.S. strength, euro strength, U.S. strength, euro strength. You see here against the backdrop of Japan, Brendan, that they haven't changed any of their monetary policy in the last couple of years. But given that the US dollar is back to highs against that Japanese yen, tells you that the market is thinking that there's more room for US strength. And I mean, the Treasury market thinks it as well. I'm sure you've kept your eyes on the fact that 10 years are down almost half a point up in terms of yield, another 5 basis points here today, ripping right through 4.25% in terms of yield there. Again, unlikely that the Fed does anything tomorrow, but they're keeping those odds close to 50-50 of another hike in the remainder of this year. And they're keeping those odds of near 5% interest rates built in for the bulk of 2024 at this point.
Yeah, when we go out to December then and still see almost 40% in favor of, or the market in favor of, another quarter point to come from Fed Chair Powell. How much is that going to pay attention to? Obviously, hang on even each individual word that comes tomorrow at 2:30, and then going into, as you said, the beginning of next year, we're still looking at 5+%. Seems, just a month or two ago, we were talking multiple cuts, not just one cut, but the potential for multiple cuts and being back around that 4.5 area as soon as, Q1.
Well, thankfully, the markets hanging on every word will be really straightforward in terms of Forex and interest rates, Brendan, because anything that Powell says in terms of, we're still worried about inflation, we still have more rate hikes on the table, that's just, it has been and likely will be bullish for U.S. rates, bullish for U.S. currency, U.S. dollars as well. And to the flip side of that, if he comes out and has any kind of, similar rhetoric to Lagarde of last week, where it's like, yeah, we might hike one more time, but then we're really calling it a day. We're feeling pretty good about inflation. You might see undoing of a lot of the U.S. dollar strength and U.S. rates. Like I say, 10-year getting up to 4.35 here today in terms of its yield. So that'll be pretty straightforward. What'll be really interesting, and I'm interested to see what you and the guys think, obviously leading up to and then following the event tomorrow, is how will stocks react to this? Because if he comes out and says that, yeah, we're still looking at more hikes on the table, the knee-jerk reaction might be bad for stocks, especially bad for tech stocks, as it has been in the last year plus, as they've been hiking rates from 0 to now beyond 5%. But that would still be an indication of confidence in the U.S. economy at a time where the global economy has been pretty pessimistic. The U.S. has been siloed off for the most part. NASDAQ still up more than 30% on the year. S&P still up almost 20% on the year. So the stock reaction might be kind of a knee-jerk reaction one way and then a reversal of that one way or the other. Like I say, higher rates may be bad for stocks, but good in terms of sentiment around the U.S. economy. Now, if he comes out and does the Lagarde impression and alludes to lower rates because inflation's under control and we're looking for that soft landing, maybe you get that knee-jerk reaction of stocks higher off of, feeding off of the lower interest rate potential. But that brings onto the table the problems that the European and Asian economies have been having recently, which is, are we hitting this soft landing on inflation, or are we hitting an economic slowdown? So that'll be a really interesting piece, seeing the initial stock reaction off of the press conference and then how that is digested throughout the rest of the trading day.
Yeah, it feels very familiar. We've been having this conversation over the past few times that we've gone through this, and each time, you think one thing's going to happen, then it just completely, surprises you the opposite direction. Or as you said, there's an initial move, and then it's just a grind the other way until we get to 4 o'clock. So it's become very challenging to really, tie those two and find that connection at this point anymore, unless he comes out and says, things are bad and we're going even higher. But it remains to be seen. Obviously, we're just speculating at this point. So lots to come. Obviously, not just tomorrow afternoon, but as you mentioned, the following day as well. Not 1, not 2, but 3 other central bank announcements coming on Thursday. Great stuff. Frank Caberna, Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago. We appreciate your time as always.
Thanks, Brendan.
Appreciate you as always, Frank. Fantastic analysis, and keeping in mind, it's sometimes we care about the others. I'll joke around and sort of say the only central bank that doesn't matter is Canada. But at the end of the day, when the central banks are going to move currencies and currency pairs are going to make a difference, especially against the USD. That's why Canada doesn't matter, but Japan matters and Europe matters. While we were gone, the market pulled back in. Now, I was just explaining to Reliable Rudy why I have a tight stop on Alibaba on a trail. So BABA broke 87.40. It curled big time off of 87, failed 87.75. We can come to my chart, and then curled big time. I'm stopping it out because it's a Chinese ADR that I usually think, you get the move, you get the move. In the last hour of the day, these tend to calm down, or slow down is the word I should be using here. And if that's the case, I'm just going to get back out there at that local high. Maybe it goes again, but experience tells me it's more likely to go sideways or come back in, typically speaking. But the market did wick the top. Had the Intel short, that just broke VWAP in here, so that's working to the downside off that 37.50 on Intel. Oddly enough, of course, you had the short on Instacart at 37.50, or I should say off of 37.50. I think we're looking at the two different stocks at the same price. We're now breaking VWAP down. I think we can make a little bit of a flush. Arms coming to the downside. I am in something that's not moving. Just popped on the screen there. You can see Rocket Lab. We did talk about this in the morning. I was in the short off 460. It took out the high. Then it failed the exact same high. So I got back into it, and it's doing nothing. I'm still just looking for a VWAP retrace. I was in this pre-market when it flushed 390 into 370. It had a failed launch, Rocket Lab, but it made a relief rally. It was down 23 or 24%, I think, at one point in the pre-market. I'm just shorting it off the highs. not really doing much. I'll let you guys know if it makes a move, but I am looking for a VWAP retracement. So market coming in, Intel, get down. I didn't really care too much about the event. I cared about 37.50.
Yeah, that was a good level there. 37.50.
34.50.
Yeah, 34.50. We just shorted Microsoft right here at 328, breaking down. We'll take a little bit more shares if and when it comes back up, just against the 50 period. This is a name that we are red on today because we went short earlier on this name. And again, just bringing back down, it's the same as the market. We're below the 50 period. Let's just see if it can hold this 328.50 level. If it does that, then all good. And this is going to be a trade that we're going to look at here. I don't know if it's going to be the best one. I'm already not tilted, but a little bit tilted off AMD because we should have had that short.
Oh, 100, yeah.
And then, I mean, we miss it by pennies, which, whatever. That's going to happen, man. I mean, sometimes you're going to miss your bids by pennies, and yeah, you're going to miss everything.
Sometimes you get the perfect fill. It's
exactly.
the same
There's nothing
thing.
you can do about it. I'm not going to cry over too much spilt milk right there. But
DH wants to know if you're going to shave tomorrow.
Not going to shave, no. I'm going to get a haircut tonight, I think. 37 a break. I know, like, what hair are they even going to cut, right? I should get my money back. Okay, so I was looking at this 37 break. So right now, here we go, man. I mean, oops, I canceled the AMD offer. Okay, no, Instacart. Okay, 37.02, 100% out. Boom, let's do that. If it does break to the high side right there, we will get out of Instacart. But again, look where we're short, man. 40. 37, we'll take $3, wake up all day long on that one. Let's hope that we can get it though first. And if it comes back in, it's been bouncing off 36.25 over and over and over again. But like I said, let's just continue to watch this. We should have never got out in the first place, but I sort of described why we got it out. We got rinsed early on the long, so you know we'll hit the sirens now because we're winning and we've made back a lot just in some of these trades. But you know, this one, let's wait to see. I did not expect this to fall down. We just talked about that, right? As it seems like a little bit of an early take here on the day. It's still 3 o'clock. If you remember what ARM did, though, heading into its last day, and just bear with me for a second here. It's going to zoom this back out into its very first day. This is what happened at about 3 o'clock. Literally at 3 o'clock. It bottomed right here at 3:06. So are they turning the machines back on? Because
Were they ever on?
yeah, it was on for the first about 30 seconds. Then they turned them off on CART, but then they turned them back on ARM, and you went from 58 up to 65. The biggest move of the day happened in ARM at 3 o'clock. So let's go over now to Instacart.
I'm guessing maybe
and
not.
see, because we are we're getting close to it. Look, this is the first time ever that it's crossed the 50-period moving average on this way down. So, whoops. Maybe it does. Ooh, it just, what? Did that just happen? Where was my stop?
Just
37.02. Okay, so we did not get out there, but it looks like we are in just a couple seconds going to get this out on an Instacart break above 37. Hey, maybe that's the signal long. You guys want to go long with me? I mean, I'll do it. It's just a matter of it lining up, and it hasn't been well received. So unlike ARM, but remember, ARM did come all the way back down as well. Okay, here we go. We are now out of that trade. And just so you know, my stop was 37.02. We got 37.17. There's the move back up. So yes, sir, let's close the trade with a $2.50 winner or so on CART. And we tweeted out that that's where we were going to get out anyway. So far, so good on that one. Is it a long now? Potentially a long.
It's not that much risk off the bottom. I want to update Birds. Birds would have been good off that halt if you got that punch. So it halted at 109 and opened up here at 122, bottom of 115. It actually got up to 146, but that's just a crazy wick. It is holding right now. So if you're long this thing off the halt price, it's looking pretty good. We always say take profit because this is just a reverse split that's bouncing, and it got to $1, and that's going to be the reason why it has explosion. But a good look and a good hold. I like dollar breaks. I think the thing about a dollar break is it's a great psychological level, but it generally gives you the type of line in the sand that is difficult to ignore, right? Like I think when you take longs at like prices like 105 and 110, it's not very often that you're going to get rinsed to like 85 or 90. Like most of us are going to be disciplined enough to get out at 99 or 98 or 97, and that's what I like about the level. So you can always sort of be confident that you'll be able to execute your plan there. It's a psychological thing, and you shouldn't care too much, but they can be good. That was a good one. The market's trying to bounce. I said Intel, if it got down to this local bottom here at 37, I'd be getting a bunch out in front of it. So it broke channel down. I got 2 fills, still looking to get another one down closer to 37 even as the market is coming back in. ARM got back down to 55. I took some off when it did. And Apple, I had the Apple bounce, but I feel like I got in front of the level instead of looking for it to make a bottom. So I got in there at like 15s and then got right out when it broke evens. Let's see it make a consolidation before we get into the long. I mean, the market's still trying to stair step to the upside. I want to give it a chance. Shout out to Daryl in the chat was saying Meta looks like a good long off VWAP. I don't disagree with you. Meta has been arrows up. Good strong stock. The bounce it made off 300. I had a dip buy that was never really any good off the previous break, but 300 looks real solid. I mean, look what it gave to you at that 300 level. It's weird how on an IPO day, I feel as if I had a bunch of things that I laid out during lunch money and we had levels in the morning, and then the second we were just glued to waiting for the open of Instacart, I didn't execute any of them because the focus was on staring at level 2 waiting for that print. Right. And Meta off 300 was absolute gold. Affirm, Rivian bouncing off the low was absolute gold. It's the opportunity cost, but like I said, you've got to measure these things against themselves. If I had traded a bunch of other nonsense when Coinbase IPO instead of the Coinbase IPO, I'd be mad that I did that. So, opportunity cost, missing out on other names, but you got to live with it. VWAP looks okay here on Meta. So does 303.5. I don't know that it gets to VWAP, and if it does, maybe we're breaking down at that point. Like you look at what's happening in the NASDAQ, you're at that 15.35, which I don't know if that's probably not that meaningful anymore. I'm going to get rid of that line. Like once you pass a level, like that's a level from last week. I like to get rid of those. I just hadn't yet. So you're trying to break down here, but when you're still within 25 handles or 25 points on the NASDAQ, I don't think we've really broken down that channel just yet because you can always snap right back up. And if that happens, I don't wonder if Meta wouldn't be bottoming here as opposed to at VWAP. Like if we get to VWAP, that means we're resolving even lower than that and the market's really breaking down, which I'd be cautious of. Intel just gave another fill as that continues to the downside. Mr. Gelsinger, I don't know what you did or didn't say, but you didn't get the stock back above 37.50, which by the way, I'd like to happen in my long term because I still own shares of Intel for the long haul. Nice. Shout out Daryl Flinch. That's a great look on Meta. I mean, it's just what I would do with it. And again, like I'm the guy that just bought the dip and lost 15 cents on Apple. So I like these tight stops in the afternoon. You might be right that VWAP's better. It's 303 even as well. So you got the even dollar working with you. I'm worried about the futures rolling over here. But I guess my bias is obvious, isn't it? Because we're all short. So yeah.
I cannot believe, whatever, we got stopped out on the cues here, but look at this, man. Nice move to the downside. Like we could have just given it a little bit more room. We'll work on our tightness of the stop right there because there it comes right back in. And then we did try Instacart. We tried to go long there at 30, oopsies. We tried to go long right here at 37. So we got out at 37, then we went long at 37, and then we got out right there on a 37 break. So we take about a 30-cent hit back in on Instacart on like 20% of the shares, like nothing major there because we said, do we want to do it? Do we want to do it? And then we talked about how, well, now it's going to hit the bottom again, actually. So I guess it was a reload short, not a long, which is fine. The only other stock that we have right now, we're not taking 15-cent stops or anything on Microsoft because we would have already taken 15-cent profits on it, but it just keeps on bouncing. So right now we're short at O's or 327.95. It's come into 70 many times. So now I'm bidding 66 to take out a quarter of it. We'll see if we can make 35 cents on this play. And then again, just our stop, like I'm just trying to use these 50-period moving averages here, right? And so let's just see. We're playing that the market wants to roll here. And I don't know if that's the case, but again, down 0.42, heading into
roll tide.
Yeah, roll tide. We were talking about Eddie Lacy and all that stuff. So as you come down and remember,
you and Eddie Lacy.
As we come back down into here, 15,340. I don't know. We said this the other day. If the market's going to do this, maybe we see VWAP again, which gives us the Microsoft trade and gives us even lower than that. So hopefully we'll come in and the risk to reward will be fine. But again, I don't think this is going to be a maximum sort of like let's put on a big amount of shares here unless we get something in our ear from Brendo that something's happening somewhere. Because for right now we have NEO, which is almost $1 in the money right now. The lowest it's ever been today is right now for NIO, and we have that short on board. We missed The AMD is ridiculous because it's $1 now in the money, and we were not going to play around with that, so we miss it, but that's okay. And again, AMD right here on the sticky note. I mean, it's 103. I mean, so we got to try to respect some of those levels. Now the market's bouncing back up, and what I'm noticing right here is we'll average in to Microsoft a little bit more in and around the 50 period, but we're going to use 328.50 as our out. It's not weak. This stock. So I'm saying, you know, I've said this before many times on different names that are dancing around. I don't believe this name to be weak here, Microsoft. The market pulled down, and sure, that top was at 140. I guess that's 140 as well. So it actually did pull back about $1. So I take that back a little bit, but it's just like these moves that are happening right here, it didn't get into these lows right there. So that low was 55, 56. That's where we are right now. And the future should be printing us lower here. So
we're tanking.
Let's be careful here on the market. Intel's heading to the downside.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's now really accelerating to the downside. I'm respecting 36.5 here. If it gets down to that price, I'm just out. It showed you a volume bottom already. I'm going to actually trail this one as well. So it's really flushing to the downside. I want to shout out to the 17th best running back in the history of Alabama, Eddie Lacy, or maybe he's like the 25th. Every time I talk,
I'll take 17.
It's not that I'm an Alabama fan. I'm a Big Ten. I'm a Big Ten dude. I didn't go to Big Ten school, but I'm a Big Ten fan. So not an SEC guy, but Eddie Lacy. If that's the first one that comes to mind, it's always going to be Eddie Lacy. Market headed to the downside. Rocket Lab's not really going square. It didn't add to it. Liked Intel better. Probably a good decision. It's back under 50, but look what it's doing since it broke $50 again. Absolutely nothing on block. It is just hugging VWAP here. I mean, like, look at this. That's the flush. Now you're rolling over. If it can break consolidation down, hold under VWAP, and the market continues to go, then I think this can be an ad on Square. But them holding it from the morning, I just want to see something happen underneath VWAP. Now it's looking a little bit more weak. Okay, I think I might get into this if I can get 90s now. Looking a little bit more weak. If the market flushes, I think this can be good. Give it to $50. And then Bob's your uncle. Rocket Labs, I think that is, it's at this point pretty much a nothing burger. The next time I talk about Rocket Labs will probably be it breaking the high, or I'm me just punching out of it because it's going sideways on me. I'm in the money, 5 cents on that stock, and it's just not going any further. And wow, Intel just hit the low of the day. So Intel just hit the lows. They had the event. This is the bottom to top. It went 36.5 to 37.5, 37.5 back to 36-ish 5. I took 60s out, so call it quits. I like you, Intel, but today, Intel giveth, Intel taketh away. Let's see what happens tomorrow. If it can hold 35, that now is going to be the 50-period moving average. When you have a trend to the upside, I'd rather see it hold the 50 period on the daily as opposed to what it's been doing, which has been breaking and then reclaiming it. More bullish when you can't even sniff that 50 period moving average, which I think we're going to find out tomorrow. And by the way, I'm going to like that level as a Fed level as well. Amazon's got a 135, the 50 period on the daily for tomorrow as a Fed level. Intel's going to have 35 even as well.
I kind of laughed because I just saw someone on the chat say, oh my God, it's $1 on NIO. Yeah, like we're short at 960, so this is like 12%. It's just continuing to go, man. I mean, they were a nightmare today. They had that convertible note, I guess, for $1 billion, obviously sending them to the downside, and there goes Intel right now. So just what I was talking about, or sorry, Intel, yes, Intel down, but NIO as well. Just what I was talking about on Microsoft, honestly, this name should be down $1. Like we're breaking lower right here on everything. Right, lower, lower, lower. We already took out that wick level on the futures, which should have put I keep saying Intel, which should have put Microsoft a hell of a lot lower than where we are right now. Microsoft should actually be at least at 327.50 right now. So the fact that it's not either has catch up to do, or once again, we're in the wrong name here because it's not moving. And I'm not going to take 10 or 15 cents on this one, despite me thinking that this is not going down. Maybe we should just can it and go into something else. I mean, see, like futures bumped up what? They're half of a handle, and this thing ripped.
You're not going to believe birds.
One last chance, man. I was.
Oh, you saw?
I was going to talk about birds. 141 BRDS here on the New York. So there it is right now, 147 and halted, and it's stupid because I was on this name at. There it is. I was on this name at 109. I could have bought 109. Yes. So you want to talk about 10% or 12% on NIO? I mean, that's 50%.
That's the kind of trade because
That's a risky one.
we always talk about not chasing these, and the reason why we'll always say, we're not trading that when we're not chasing the move. But we always say if you can get it in early, and it opens up, and it's the first halt, and it's the dollar break. Like that's why it's worth it. Like, you know, if you can get the 9s, anything in there, it's worth the risk. Like it's not that bad. You might risk like 10 cents on a trade like this to get potentially, maybe it goes to $2. I don't know where it's going to go. The current tap 147. So I can't reiterate that enough. If you have a chance to get into one of these, early is the way to go 10 times out of 10. And pretty much every single time. GFOR, Mimi is saying, I'm not really seeing anything. That's not on any of my scanners. So every now and then, it's like if it's not popping on my scanners, I could be falling for something.
I feel like
typing GFOR, I don't even know that symbol. What is that? Graph acquisition. So we got a SPAC. Is it really moving? Not really is the answer to that. Yeah, it's not doing anything. G4. You got me. You got me. Usually I'll look up and check my trade idea scanner just to make sure something's on there when you guys holler it out. But yeah, you definitely got me on that one. I mentioned getting out. Whoops, that's a firm, not ARM. Huh. I guess I have a firm on my brain a little bit. So ARM still consolidating. Now it's underneath 55. I got this bad wick up to 62.5, which is skewing the chart a little bit. But then my entry is on the other side of it. So if I get rid of this, then you don't see my entry. If I just kind of scroll over like that. But yeah, so short up at like 55 quarter. Actually 30 is really my price. It's breaking down. It did take out 55 a little bit, looking for the trend down. But ARM is holding up rather nicely so far today. Relatively speaking, let's just say that. I mean, it's down 5%, but relatively speaking, it's holding up rather nicely. Hold on to your shorts and affirm, just because I hate myself over missing out that bottom. That was that 23 long on Affirm. It wicked down, held 23.10, got all the way to VWAP. So that's the VWAP retrace on the stock that's absolutely dumping. Pretty sweet if you were able to get it. Rivian did the same thing as well. Birds is open back up. I'll have a gander, but we're not really going to. I don't think I'm going to trade it. Like I said, won't chase it. It's above 150. Maybe it gets to $2. I'm definitely rooting for anybody that's long. Nothing against it. Just always feel as if these things generally can come down really, really quickly. So, you know, they could be at $1 before you even sniff. Like you could blink, you could halt down, and then you're opening back up at like $1.10. So be careful trading those.
All right, so we took 20 cents on a quarter of the position. Oh man, this is really starting to, you know, eat at me here, but hopefully it comes down because, you know, that's the fill rate there. What we're looking for is honestly, I mean, I would thought a push to the 200 would be nice. So that's 32. Where are my bids? I actually don't even have any bids. My next bid was actually, well, whatever. What's the difference? It's at 26, my next bid. So maybe we'll bring, that's close enough. Now it's come up, so it's at 30 now, but we were at 26 before. So we'll wait, and then if there is a complete crash in the futures, then we will be down here. Checking back on this TQQ trade, like, it's a little frustrating there, but
CGC's at $1.
yeah, CGC's back to $1.
No, it wicked $1.
That's an interesting play. We'll have a look at that. Square still making new lows on the afternoon. No, not really. We could still get to 49.50 before we worry about that one. Short now, 40 cents in the money. NEO's now $1. We'll see if NEO wants to continue to go. And then let's check out, you know, what's going on ACB. We know that's below $1. Neil just mentioned CGC as well at $1. So look, I still like the breakouts on $1, but I don't think it's the same impact when it's running into $1. It has to be running this way.
BGC's SSR though.
Oh, it's SSR as well. Okay, so this has to be going through $1, not just holding $1, and it's a little bit late in the day to get that last dollar run to the upside.
5 minute.
Doesn't? Yeah, no, yeah, it's fine. I mean, I think it's there. You can just. So what I think now is maybe it's a scalping play, but I don't think there's anything wrong with actually being in this. So there it is, man. 102. Again, whatever shares you want to take, you take them, and then you work off of it. So right now, CGC down 10%. Maybe you do get that bounce.
So it wicked 99. This morning, this is a way better trade if it does it at 9:30, by the way, just to point out. But I was long this off the 110. It was great off the open. That was a better trade in there. You're able to get that 15. I mean, it went all the way from 14s up into like 27, 25s in there. So a good move. We reloaded it, couldn't hold VWAP. I stopped out underneath that issue price from yesterday, that 109, so punched out 108s. But then it wicks $1 to 99. So give me ones long. Give me the out here if it can't hold on, and then see if it can't bounce into like 5s and 6s. So you're just looking to scalp it out. At this time of day, it's already 320, right? So anyone tuning in for the first time, we're day trading here live. We've got to be flat by 4 o'clock. We don't hold overnight positions. We're trading equity. That means you can't really always look for the move that you would want to have if you're holding it all day long when you're holding a trade potentially for maximum 40 minutes. And in this case, I'd love to hold it for 15 minutes if it could just get back up to 110. So there is your wick bottom on CGC. As I said, I like it way, way better if you can do that same move at the open. I saw someone mention U.S. Steel, and I don't know why. I just went to Wayfair. U.S. Steel, nothing really happening in U.S. Steel. Big day for them today. Rated some positive numbers and holding up pretty nicely, but not a lot of action. By the way, I think Intel was a good out at that bottom. Huge, biggest volume candle of the day on that bottom at 36.5. And now you're seeing it rally back to the upside. So there is the monster volume candle. I can make that look even more extreme. If it now holds 36.50, like if it consolidates here, holds 36.50, I think that long looks pretty good down around here. But I don't want to jump into that too early. Let's see if it gets back and holds some support. It's 20 cents higher, so it would have to pull back anyways. And the futures are still resolving itself to the downside.
Man, Instacart is still bleeding. Whoa, it just took out 36 right there. So yes, definitely a missed opportunity there for me on Instacart as we got out when it broke 37. Remember we were watching the 50 period moving average right there, and I was like, okay, once we break it, maybe, just maybe, we could test into the long, but it seems like the long is not necessarily right here either, because that was at 37 and now you're down to 35. So what was that initial price? Coming up 31. So we'll definitely have to see if there's anything on that play there, down to 31 bucks for Instacart.
Someone's going to be on the bid there. It's just a matter how big.
I don't think that we will get anywhere near.
Not today. We'll get there, just not today.
Oh yeah. We'll get there. Just like ARM, right? I mean, ARM was back to IPO.
We should do a poll at some point, like
tomorrow.
What day does Birds break its IPO price to the bottom? Oh, sorry, Birds. I'm looking at Birds.
Never.
That's my bad. Not Birds. I meant.
I know.
Instacart.
Yeah.
And then we should do one for ARM as well, because I think that has a decent chance of happening too. Like, remember, Rivian was 5 days. I'm like pretty sure about that. Like it ran for 5 days and then it never really saw it again. I didn't check what Coinbase was.
Okay.
But there's a reason why people say don't invest at an IPO on the first day.
Right.
Because generally speaking, you look back a week or two and it's a horrible price. We like to trade them off those levels. We don't want to hold on to them in the long term. I think you got to wait for them to really make a little bit more sense. Like when I got into Mobileye, I waited for it to settle down. I actually waited for a report. I wanted to see how their first quarter did and get an idea of whether I wanted to be in it. And then after that, made sure I got a price I was comfortable with. So like all those good things you should do. Birds opened up and broke 150. It's now pulling back in. It didn't halt to the downside yet. So the longs are still feeling okay, I would guess. So it broke the last halt. It's kind of going back and forth here, and it's holding up pretty decently. CGC got to 4s. Let's see if it can get a little further. I have to hit enter twice every single time. Just looking for it to get a little bit further on that play. I'm not going to tighten up the stop just yet. And I'm going to use a midpoint stop here, which is hilarious, Neil. I looked at one of the other reasons why I got really bad fills is there's a setting on my stop that on ARM, I make sure it's, when my stop triggers, it's whatever the last price was, whether it's 1 share, 100 shares, or 100,000 shares. I just want that trigger, so I'm getting out fast. I used a midpoint stop, which waits until my trigger price is at the midpoint, so it has to move an extra penny. So when CART was moving that extra cent, I was the last person getting stopped out at that even dollar level, which is why my fills were absolute crap today, but that's on me. You make a mistake, you own up to it. And I saved that setting. I thought I saved it. Obviously, I must not have. It is what it is. Coin IPO, 300 plus, WUCO. Yeah, you're right. These, I could pull up charts of Coinbase or I don't know, Snowflake, and we can show some ridiculous levels here where these things were opening. And it seems nonsensical to have gone IPO long on Coinbase at those prices, but believe me, it was good. Snowflake was good up there. Coinbase was good up there. Rivian, they were great longs for a day or two. You just didn't want to get caught holding the bag.
870. Okay. I'm starting to put in. I'm starting to put in orders now.
Bye Intel. This is not
Down?
good.
Yeah, Intel. Whoosh, woosa, whoosh.
You should be taking
right there.
profit on this.
I mean, look, everybody I hope took profit in Nvidia and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I was jokingly calling it a Ponzi scheme, but you know, since their last
Intel's not inflated though. That's
no. Since their last, yeah, Intel, yeah, this is talking about Nvidia here. Yeah. Since their last earnings report, which they blew out numbers, guided higher, did everything every single investor would have wanted, and you are now down. Off that report was 515 was the high, so you're almost down about 20% plus on, well, no, 20%, 10% will be $50, so 550, yeah, almost. You're down about 16, 15% on Nvidia since their amazing report. So watch out, might be time to buy it. You know, you're just going to wait for Morgan Stanley. Remember the last time it dipped down? So it had these big runs before, 477, 478, dipped down into $4 and then we got that Morgan upgrade. So we'll wait to see if an upgrade comes again today. You know your boy's going to be waiting for that one and hitting the out of the long on that one when it does happen. Talk about going long. I like this break right here on Tesla, going long through 266. It's holding the bid. We've got the 200. We've got VWAP. This is 50 cents worth of a trade for me. Okay. Oh, I was going to say, didn't it not break there? Okay, we're long at 01s. So I think there was a, okay, there it goes. Now it broke. Okay, I was going to say, I think there was a reserve order there at O's because it broke and I was like, did I get long or not? And boom. So now we don't have to complain too much because we get the price that we ask for. So I completely understand that the Tesla long and the Microsoft short are like two in the same. So it's like one can't win while the other one
Not
works.
necessarily. The market's been different lately.
No, but I think that, yeah, I need the market to go up for both of them, for Tesla, and this one's already starting to go. So we have a pretty tight stop on this. We don't have very many shares on this one. We've given it up. We talked about getting some out, but we do take some at the 50 period. So let's watch out for 328.50 on that break right now. I don't believe in it as much. So if it breaks it, it breaks it. And there, hopefully, here goes Tesla up to the upside. So we'll take a little, not really. We'll take a little bit out here for about 30 cents or so, and then let the rest ride, hopefully into the close as we get a little bit excited here for that name. And we should have, honestly, man, we should have got out of Microsoft. Like when we took this trade, and I was like, yeah, you know what, it's weak. We don't really like this trade. We should have just got out of them all. But right now we will put our tail between our legs and run for the doors on this one because 328.50 is coming in right now, and it will be a 45-cent hit on Microsoft. But if it does fall back, maybe we'll take a little bit out because there goes Tesla. As if we're at 30, it went to 29 there. Come on, man. Like me and Neil said, sometimes you get the fills and sometimes you do not. So we missed that one by 1 penny, similar to what we missed on AMD.
It's all in the game. It's all in the game. And
it's all good, man.
That's how you know. Like it's just it's real. Like it'd be nice to like always get tops and bottoms. Someone actually said to me in the chat, "Thank you for not shorting AMC." That's very sweet of you, but I did short it and lose 6 cents. So that's not true, right? Like we always talk about it. I said if it got under that $8 level after the break to the upside, I would short it underneath. I got that 98, and there's my stop out right there. Okay, fine. Like, I think it was 6 cents. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's still going to the upside. AMC is flying to the upside, as a matter of fact. Matt Carnes mentioning DraftKings trying to change support to resistance. You always want to see that. Always want to see it. By the way, I did get that 5 on CGC, but it's 3:30, so it's like time to, put up or shut up with some of these positions. Double bottom DraftKings, $30. And it's the 50-period moving average. DraftKings is going on the iPad today. Maybe, I don't know if I don't just like that now on DraftKings. Double bottom, you're risking, 10 cents to the low. It's at the 50-period. More room for it to go tomorrow, but why not? It's not that bad. We still have 20 minutes till the imbalances. We're going to get the early look in 30 seconds or so. I didn't realize that DraftKings had come all the way back into the bottom. I understand why Intel on this event day might retrace the entire move when the market starts stepping up. I don't understand why DraftKings would have broken and be all the way at the low when the market was kind of doing pretty nice here in the afternoon. So it's a bit strange, but it's still a good level, and it's only 10 cents worth of risk. This one ain't bad. It ain't bad. Matt Carnes says, I don't have many great setups, but this one I couldn't resist. Well, that's the problem. Sometimes some things are too good to resist. My biggest problem is that's like literally all pastries. It's not necessarily the best place to be. I told the story of my wife. Like, she bought these oatmeal cookies and left them on the counter. Usually she hides them from me. I finished the box in like a week and a half. Not like a sleeve of the box. I'm talking like the box, like the whole box.
1 week and a half?
A week and a half.
Or were you in a coma? Why don't you finish that a lot faster than that?
It's a whole box, man.
1.5 weeks?
My
10
daughter
days?
doesn't eat cookies. I was basically eating. What? That's
10
crazy.
days for
No,
a
I was
box of
basically. It
cookies?
probably had like 60 cookies in it or something like that. So I'm literally eating like 8 or 9 of those bad boys a day. And once, like, actually, I had a dozen in one of those days. That was bad. That's not a good look. Eating 10 cookies a day.
I don't think. What kind of cookies was it? 60 in a box?
No, they're
Seems like a
oatmeal.
lot. I don't think there's, dude.
I got a sweet tooth for you.
I'm just surprised. I thought you were gonna say like 2 or 3 days.
But you
I
know
don't
this.
think that's.
If the,
Oh, yeah,
caterer,
yeah,
if
yeah,
the
yeah.
caterer brings oatmeal cookies, and I see it right there, I can pass it once.
Yes.
I can maybe pass
Yes,
it twice.
of course.
I'm not passing it a third time. You have to be honest with yourself. I saying this out loud always keeps me, just sort of keeps me on point. Like, I know this is my issue with pastries. So I like this DraftKings. It's pressing. I want it above 30 again, though. Like, I'd like it to at least recover above 30 and then just go long 1s and 2s. Like, I'm getting out underneath 91's the low. So I'd rather give up 3 cents to see it retracing back above 30. And then I want to get into this. I like that look. People calling it rookie numbers. We could talk about when I was in my youth, how I
that
could
would be a different story.
We talk about some different stuff. Like, I was
Look at Insta.
in our crew, I was the eater in our crew. Like, I'll throw down with anybody back in the day. But I'm a little older now. I can't really do that stuff anymore.
Yeah, so just quickly here, Instacart is now through 35. Like, that should be a $5 winner, and it's not. We're fine with what we did on it, but
You know what? The SSR rule is dumb.
we left some money on the table there with Instacart.
The fact that there is no previous close for it to be 10% down from, that actually is silly. It is so
Yeah,
weak that
but
it should be SSR.
I don't know, should it? I mean, on IPO trading day, I feel like you could throw the rules out.
But there should be some level that it can activate. Like, it basically,
be? I don't know.
basically can't go SSR today.
Right.
It can't. Physically
Right.
can't.
Well, we'll not, and that's fine. But tomorrow it will,
Yeah, I think
or
it-
won't. We'll see. But okay, so just real quick here, Tesla. 266, we went long right there. Obviously, we got out at 25s. We switched our order from 30 to 25. It looks like we would have got 30. The high on that move was about 36, so we got 25. So we switched it over to the quarters. Now you're going to drip down. I'm only going to hold this 50 cents. So if we break 265.50, we're out of this one. We've already got out of a quarter. So it'll be roughly probably net like a 30-cent hit because we'll take 50 cents on the last 75% of this, but hopefully be able to run this back up to the upside. We got a little piece out there at 15 on Microsoft after taking a 25 short, but you can see our average price is 07, so this one could be an L as well. Like, we could wind up losing on both. How crazy would that be as we go? But for right now, it's only 333, but make sure that you do join me, and thanks, Ramin, for doing this. She just posted it up on our main account, but I just retweeted it right now. We do have Brian Shannon coming through, so that should be good. Get your snacks ready. Oh, yeah, it's Taco Tuesday. That's right. We have market recaps with coming through, so watch out for that. We'll talk all about the ARM IPO the last couple of days, how that's been trading. We'll talk about Instacart. We'll talk about NIO. We'll talk about a lot of different things that are going to be coming through. We'll talk about the Fed tomorrow. We'll recap how this day went, and we'll just have overall a lot of fun. So join me for sure back at 4 o'clock on the main,
Yes, sir.
on the big desk. Yeah. So
Michael Shannon needs a nickname.
yeah,
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Brian Shannon.
Brian, sorry.
But either way, yeah.
Michael, because the actor, I always do
Something
that.
about
How about Unk?
for the VWAP.
No, just call him Unk. Kind of like Shannon Sharp, they call him Unk.
Oh, okay.
So you could go
But
like-
you won't really get that because
No, you won't get that.
Yeah, maybe we won't. Well, maybe we'll hold off on a nickname. I mean, let me feel the.
Yeah, because
let me feel the vibe.
Nos Boss has one.
Yeah. Let me work on that. I don't know. Everyone might not want a nickname, you know.
I don't know.
But we'll see. I'll ask him. Maybe
It's
I'll
true.
ask.
Not everybody has.
Maybe I'll ask him live on the show.
The professor's got one. That's
The professor. Yeah, well, I came up with that. That was on the fly because
Because
he
he
was
had
the word of the day. No, it was the word of the day.
I thought it was. Didn't he wear his glasses too?
I don't know. He looks like a lot of different things, but the
But-
professor was because he's dropping knowledge. With those
He's
words.
always dropping science.
You know, the quadunk. That's an official word. We had.
You can look it up.
Yes, exactly. And
up.
his former days, you know, he talked about this lawyer trying to get CMT, or his not lawyer, but his law days, and then now he's working on a CMT. So he's the professor.
He is the professor.
Yeah.
I just want to point out on DraftKings, I don't know if like this 30 level has an iceberg. It's pretty legitimate. It's been at this level for a few minutes now, and it's cleared it out a few times. It's not a ton of shares. Like you'll only see like 1,500 on NASDAQ, a couple hundred on every other gateway. But when it gets there, it fills it all, and then it just doesn't go away. And it continues to print, deep prints, whatever, ARCA. Like there's plenty going off at that level. But I was waiting for it to get back above. So it's now holding for a couple of minutes. It's 335. The early look on the imbalance is 750 to sell. Might run out of time. Even if it breaks, I might not get a chance to play that break back out. Intel just continues to flush. That's wild. I really thought that was a temp bottom. Like the market bounced like the market is bouncing right now. Like you've got successive green candles on the 15-minute on the NASDAQ, and Intel is absolutely tanking. Every now and then, it just could have been better. You know what's weird about this? Interesting coincidence, right? Intel 3750 level, CART 3750 level.
Yep.
Both of them absolutely gave the big fake out that they were bouncing. Look at the volume grab bottom. That is a textbook reversal. Biggest volume candle of the day, wick through the low of the day in recovery. That is a reversal setup. I don't need to be a CMT to know that. And the volume is the key usually, and it just keeps on going lower. So that's not a good look for Intel here. That's nasty. Daryl's taking good luck. Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. And it did hold 303.5. So that
Daryl
was
saying?
No, he liked the meta long.
Oh,
He was saying meta. Yeah, meta long off VWAP. Didn't even get to VWAP. It's so good, it didn't even get there. Sometimes that's the way you like it. ARM broke 55 again, but it's not really flushing. Square, I'm going to get a bid out because it's getting late in the session, guys.
Yes, sir.
Well, I tried to reload Square off VWAP. Obviously, I'm not going to get it. This is not really moving all that much. We have it from the morning. That's how you could have a price above 50 quarters, like that high. I guess it got up there before, but not quite to our price. So low of the day, or just a trail out at this point on block. If it gets back in, call it like this local high in here, which is just above 49.80. Time to get out of that one. Block is not having a very good day, quarter, year. It's been an ugly one for Block, and it's not looking like it's getting any better. This is the definition of it's a short until it isn't. New 52-week low, CEO on the out. Maybe it makes a temporary bottom and recovers, but until it shows me a recovery through like this 51 quarter level almost, this is just nasty. The market bounced nicely, and Square decided that it was going to have no part of it. This is nasty to the downside. Ugh, yuck that stock.
Okay, so funny story here. I almost basically lost on both of these trades. But there goes Microsoft. We got stopped out, but then we got right back in because we noticed the market completely stopped on a dime and then reversed once we got stopped out there. So we were short at O's, remember? So we got out at 50. So we actually got a 51 fill. So that was a good fill. And then we just make it back right now by taking 25 more cents back. And now we'll see if this dips down. And then honestly, Tesla does not want to work. So let's get a piece out right here for flat, or well, for 10-cent hit. Or wait a minute, we're long at O's. We just got 84s there, so 15 cents. Let's see if it wants to work. Meanwhile, we still will watch out for this Microsoft trade, hopefully to come back into O's or so. Let's get out one more piece here at about 25, and then if it does fade out after this, we'll pick up something around 328. But other than that, our out is like 20 cents, man. There it is. We'll take that fill as well. So we'll just go a little bit of a banger on the reload. My net is basically the exact same as we were minutes ago before all of this started to happen. So our Square out is right here at 80 if it takes the 50 period. Let's go Square, man. Nice move to the downside. That's 50 cents. It's $1 in the money right now for NIO. And Tesla's all the way back. So here we go. Let's see what Tesla wants to do now. Hopefully up. here for TSLA as we took another piece there at 25 again right there for Microsoft. So hopefully that will come back in. As we now only have 20 minutes, Brendan just said those market on closed trades coming through. But you know what, man? This should now be $6 in the money. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. There's the short there.
Coulda, woulda.
And stupid 50 period, man. Maybe I need to use something different, but we're going to stick with our plan right there. Got out. We actually looked at the ARM IPO, which was maybe a mistake because that got me thinking, oh, this was the time we rallied on ARM. And it was actually the complete opposite. This is the time we continued Tank City on Instacart. So if you thought that Instacart had too high fees, well, maybe they'll be raising a few fees up soon because this was not well received, man. People stuck at 42 bucks on the IPO price today, the published price. Downside rate now. And I don't know if you got filled at 31 on your own accounts, but if you did, I don't know if there would have been a restriction.
We had a viewer or two.
90 days, I think it is.
No, we did have at least, I don't want to name names, but I think when we were talking about this last week, at least a couple of people were mentioning that they were
They're
getting
trying
that
to, so I just don't
somebody
know.
said they got one. I won't say their name, but they got 31s. I know.
Yeah, but that's great. If you got, I mean,
you're still good.
Yeah,
You're still good.
I would think you'd be able to say the name, but it doesn't matter. I just think that you're still in the money. So if you got 31, it's still great.
fine.
And whether or not you sold it or not, I don't know if I would have, but I think you want to get something out on the price and then maybe wait. So I think it's reasonable to still be in like half or more of the trade, but there it is. Wow. Bleeding down, man. I wish just for, ego's sake, we would have had that still on because that's a monster trade to the short side. But again, broke that to the downside. And our account is fine. It's just we did lose on carts, so that's what I'm saying. Like it would have felt better in my head if we had held
When you
that.
get some back, it's nice to get a little back
nice
on the
to
one
get
that got you.
something back, yeah.
As long as, and that's the thing when it's set up, because I like the short. I got stopped out of the short and then got up because I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I was just going to point out ARM. I'm still in ARM. It's not that it's not working to the downside, but it's not like it really flushed. Like it got up here to 55 half, and it's now 55 even. So the days of ARM, like it was a year ago, the moments where ARM would be moving like dollars at a time in the afternoon, maybe that's coming to an end because of Instacart. But as I was just mentioning there, we don't need a 15-minute chart.
Instacart.
Oops. Oh, it's even better. I was trying to get that curl. It doesn't matter. But I got that stop out. So I managed to make, I think that's like the worst possible wick for the short. And after that happened to me, I got up and made sure. I got up, kind of walked around. I was like, okay, it's going to be one of those for me on Instacart, which it's nasty. But I said it's like maybe we get to 31 tomorrow. It kind of feels like it's like Thanos. It's inevitable that we at least test 31. Let's go to the desk and take care of some business.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, check out IG, man. Scan that little QR code there. Hit it up. IG, shout out to Frank, who was on today. So make sure you guys support that. And let's keep Frank coming back to the show. Okay, MLB the show right now. We are on Tesla, so hopefully it comes back up. Come on, dog. Let's get going back up to the upside right here. 342 and change right now. Our last little trade there on Microsoft was good because we got 2 outs, but right now we are getting close to getting out there at 60. So again, to take 20 cents, lose 14 is okay, but we would like a lot more. But the market right here is getting its wings back to it, which is fine because we do have Tesla, which is starting to go. So we'll wait for 40-cent winner on this one. Hopefully back into 266.50 would be really nice for this, and then we don't have to worry about anything else. So here it goes. Here we go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm at 45s right now. We did not get them. We got stopped out of Microsoft, so, that's sucky again on Tesla right there, stopping in its tracks. We'll put a 38 fill now. That went to 40 and stopped again, so missed that fill. The frustrations continue on our pricing, but I feel like we got the right way here. So Tesla just a little bit more, maybe or maybe not. I am at 38s right now on Tesla. So, no. Thank you. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
We're gonna need like a defibrillator around here or something at some point. Okay, there it goes.
That's a bit much.
Now it's a bit much.
James?
Now it's going through 50. Here we go.
James Troy, why are you guys mostly shorting stocks? I think you just sort of follow the general.
Death to stocks.
No, I just look at the general trend. Like the last little bit, I would say if you go back to the beginning of the month when we made this high, like you've been generally sort of fade on the NASDAQ. So it's felt like that's been the way. And to each their own. Like there's times like, obviously like you go back a couple weeks ago and you would have liked the long. Like, these things change. It's a couple of bears on there today, and I feel like there was opportunities to go short. ARM was pulling back, so we thought that was been a short the last couple of days. I want to point out this will work. I did say that a lot of things we talked about in Lunch Money and this morning that were set up kind of went to the wayside looking at Instacart because your focus is going to be on the IPO when you're taking the opening print. But DoorDash, when the open happened on Instacart and it flushed, and we talked about money going from one to the other. Well, one to the other could have been Instacart if it went up. DoorDash would go down. At the moment it opened up, that was a breakout. Instacart's flushing.
Ooh-wee.
It was a local breakout on DoorDash for $1.50 clean. So sympathy plays can matter on these types of days. And if you're wondering about the other name, that was a sympathy play that might go in opposite directions, money from one to the other. Uber at the high of the day as well. So both of those names, as Instacart flushed, their dominance. Well, I mean, Uber's dominance continued. The Uber chart's much better than the. Not the Dash is a bad-looking chart in the daily, but Uber is having a better go of it. So nice bounce for DoorDash, which is heading to the downside, and heading over to the NASDAQ on next week, I want to say. Is it next week? It's next week.
I forget about that story. Yeah, we'll look at that. There could be an imbalance on that day, right? Because it switches over symbols, so we'll see. I don't know exactly. I don't remember the last time anything did that, to be honest with you. Come on. Come on. Right now, 75 cents now in the money. We are offering 75s on Tesla. So last time I went down, we actually got the print. So let's just stay here at 75. See if it could just break 70. Come on. Just break 70. And then once it breaks 70, we should just get 5 more cents on a $300 name, hopefully. Go. There I am. There we are. So that's a good one. Let's go. Drop down some money. And that's all we're really doing right now. The thing is, we got... It's funny because my net is literally exactly the same, give or take a couple bucks. But you remember, at least a spidey sense, you know when you go to like clubs and this and that and your sense is on for certain other things? This is the thing. It's like right there, we had sensed that there was a problem. And we talked about Microsoft. So that's fine, man. I am completely down with all of this because, you know, if we're going to make a call like that and then it's going to come through like that, then that's great. Because the next time we're feeling like that, boom, we're going to execute our spidey sense and get the heck out of Dodge when that happens. Because look where we are now. I was getting those feels. And again, the market's sure ripped. That's fine. But Microsoft was not going to go lower, it felt like, right down here. So when you get that feeling, you can just clear out. I'm not saying that the long was activated and we should have made $1.50. But the thing is like, if you're understanding that it's not going to go down, then you play the odds forever in your favor that if it's not going to go down, then there's kind of one place for it to go, up. And there's the market. It could also be flat, but at that point, we did have some cover areas. So it's just getting out was fine, and then getting back in may be the problem there. But again, it's a small hit. We are red on Softy because we also did not have a great trade there earlier on where we shorted and we lost 50 cents right there before it went $9. I'm close to shorting this right now, but it's 347. I got to get over there to the big desk and get ready. Plus, we have the imbalances coming out as well. Plus, we already have 70 cents trying to get the dollar club right here on Tesla. Hopefully, that can come through too. My target is right here, baby. Let's go. 267.40. Let's put the order in and manifest this thing.
Yeah, manifest destiny. Well, whatever. Probably is what it is. I'm going to get out of CGC here. It took out that dollar level very, very briefly. There's your wick under to 99. We grabbed the 101, stop out at $1. It did not stop at $1, but it didn't get past 105. So it's one of those where it goes, but if that happens, the same move happens in the morning, and generally speaking, I think you get a much better relief rally than that, but it still ends up working out here. AMC, by the way, it didn't really get to my short level, but it did get all the way to 840. So once again, for whatever reason, I don't know why, okay, fine, it's AAPL or whatever, if you want to call that the reason why it's up, fair enough, it's squeezing to the upside. They like the news, and it's trying to go, I still think 930, breaks out from there. It really starts squeezing past that level, but you are getting a first day one. Like, first step is always to make a bottom before you can squeeze. Well, it's made a bottom today. Now, if it can hold on to $8, break out the local high tomorrow, could be good. I don't think we'll have a chance to short this one. Pretty much done, so I'm just going to punch out of Rocket Labs. Sometimes, like you were saying, the spidey senses, they can be good. I feel like the Spidey sense was wrong on Intel because it was weaker than I thought, but a nice bounce off 36 even. Intel's the stock where the even dollar levels tend, and the 50-cent levels tend to be really good. And they're well defended. Usually if you can structure that trade, it was down there for like a heartbeat. So getting there at like 3s and 4s can be tricky, but it's a good level. I think we'll look at that tomorrow, 36. Imbalances are coming in just about 15 seconds. I want to make sure I had those up for you guys. 745 to sell side was the early look. Doesn't mean it's going to come out sell side right now. I'm still in that arm. I'll probably break it out at break even. It's like 25 cents in the money, not much. Amazon is under $1 million to buy. 800,000, really? Apple, 450,000. This is a nothing burger so far. I just saw Tesla there. 1,700 now. Oh, I have it by paired volume, that's why. Well, I look at paired volume when we're doing Palantir to sell again. 3.2 million shares to sell on Palantir. That was there yesterday. Virgin Galactic's a buy of 1 million. Big cap tech does not look like it's over $1 million, as I was saying. We saw Amazon in there, and that was a decent size, but nothing huge. 800,000 on Amazon looks like the biggest one, but Palantir, 3 million on Palantir isn't nothing. That's a tenth. That's literally 10% of the day's volume. Small move to the downside, not below that $15 level, but that's worth monitoring. That's a little something on Palantir.
We got out of square there when it took the 50 period, so we'll take 50 cents,
yeah,
put
sure,
that in
yeah,
our
yeah.
pocket, get out of that one, and then just move on. We will mark out right here to get out of our Tesla position. So if that does break, I mean, it's a big trade. So if it breaks below this 25 area, we're going to get out. So here we go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's going to be $1. Hopefully it's going to be worth $1 for us, and then we'll see where it goes. Right now, 75 cents in the money. Let's go Tesla, making that move back up to 277. We are getting a little greedy. I'm waiting for 277.30 up there, 277.35 to be exact. I don't really know why we did chose exactly that, but hopefully it can go. We still have a lot of time left, believe it or not, in this day. It's only 8 minutes, but lots can happen. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. If you haven't done it yet, we should have about 1,000 here today. I don't know how many likes we do have, but make sure you do this.
Hola, like and subscribe today.
Oh, we got to use the other one. Like rest, I mean.
The thing is, Sharif's not here, so.
But, I mean, if you were watching the show all day
Like,
long.
subscribe, and share the show that takes you into the heart of the market every day.
What happens to the volume at the end? I don't hear the ending.
I can barely even hear that in my ear. Can you guys hear that properly? Because I barely
I think the professor didn't like his voice or
But
something.
you look, that's the last time. I don't know when we're going to get a chance to see the awesome beard again. It's gone. He said 10 years to the day. He shaved it off.
It'll be back in a
looks
month.
younger.
I call.
I don't know how long it takes him to grow. Everyone's a little bit different. Probably, yeah, he can probably do that in a month. I couldn't, but I'm sure he could there. People saying it was a little bit quiet. Can't hear through the beard, Steve G. That's a good one. I see you, Steve G. That's a good joke. Do what again?
Do what again?
Hit it again? Oh, they're telling us to hit it again.
Like, subscribe, and share the show that takes you into the heart of the market every day.
Still feel like
No,
you
it
don't
still
hear it.
trails off at the end.
I think that's why, because there's that ding right there at the end. So, all right. Anyways, there's only a couple minutes left before we go. Tesla looks like it's going to get hit down here, breaking through. So that's okay. The market came out. It was a decent number there, 600 million to sell. As you can see, the market is fading back out just a little bit. And then our friend, my friend, it's a good friend of mine actually, Mr. Softy, making that move up and really not pulling back. I did want to check the temperature of Google because, okay, perfect. Back above 138. We had these 138s early on Google. We actually got out by the skin of our teeth because it was not even a big hit as it comes all the way back down. We talked about that play earlier today once it broke the level. Why we got out? Because we were afraid of this. But then Google showing its relative strength today, although the NASDAQ's still down 0.2, Google's only down 0.1, so it's not like an amazing relationship there, but still a nice downside move there for Google happening, and then a nice bounce back. So we'll wait to see tomorrow. 137, a very, very interesting level there for me on Google if that does come through tomorrow. So let's pay very, very close attention to that one and hope that there's some sort of a fill there. NIO, I might just punch out. There was some size. Holy shit. There is a huge chaser. That's 1 million shares.
And Bob is tanking.
So if you guys have ever seen anything on the level 2, it's right there right now. 1 million plus. I'm hearing something in my ear there. I think I was just hitting the key too much. 1 million shares plus right now on the offer of NIO. Yeah, sticky keys, I think.
Careful with that.
856, 855 right there. It is. Look at this. Look at this chaser. Oh,
It's
man.
it's
How much-
SSR, remember.
How much time is there? Oh, it's SSR.
That's people
So-
trying to hit, like, a lot of that could be people trying to hit the bid.
Jeez.
They just can't hit the bid. Like, they're trapped. Like, that's what happens. Like, if you try to hit the bid without an uptick when the stock is SSR, you just get repriced
I
to
got
the
to
offer.
go, so I got to get out. But
So,
there it is.
yeah, like, obviously, I know you want to cover. It's almost 355 here. So we'll see. Like, it's probably just going to follow it down until there's an uptick, and then a bunch of that's going to get filled, or at least as much as possible. It's on 182 million. It's not like you can't fill 1 million shares, but without an uptick, who wants to buy a milli on NEO? That's the real question. It is
Maybe
355.
Lil Wayne.
Palantir gone. NEO's a buy and balance of 2 million shares.
Yeah, well,
Well, they're not going to have any trouble getting liquidity for that order, are they? Because we'd see some sellers on the level too. 2 million to buy. Hey man, there you go. Why wait till the auction? You can literally pick up 2 million shares on the offer right now. But that's what people do. Sometimes they don't want to move the price around, so they'll get the liquidity at the end of the day. As I said, I was just going to get out of Rocket Labs to fill the bid. There you go. The second it filled, it sort of pops right back up. So you get an uptick, all that fills, and now it's going right back into the downside. Oh, that's hilarious. That was actually, whoever got filled that million, that was like a nice entry point. Taking the fill on the offer.
Yeah.
Like, it just goes right back into the downside on NEO. You don't see that very often, but what you do when a highly liquid and big name, let me just punch out a CGC, like I'm still in this stupid thing. It's not really going. But when you have a big liquid name doing high volume, those are the chances for you to see something like that. So it's not often that you'll see 1 million shares on the offer get filled in one shot, and it be not just good, but it's real good. It's all good. Whoever took that, I mean, if it's not one person, but anyone that was on that order, like 50, 100,000 shares, they're kind of banking to the downside as that continues to flush. 3 minutes to go. I think Katrine's going to be on the bell. I'm still in ARM. Let me just, where is it? Where's my trail never hit on ARM, and it's not really falling any further. So I'll just pop out here in front of 55 even. Doesn't look like it wants to break 55 even. So good look for ARM. ARM ends up holding out somewhat close to the IPO bottom at 55.5. So that's turned into resistance, but it's not really flushing from that level. So I guess everyone went from shorting ARM the last 2 days to shorting Instacart today.
tell everybody I got out Tesla 66 there.
So Sean got out Tesla at obviously $266.
And 66 cents.
Oh, and 66. He would do that. Day traders do some weird stuff like that-ish. Where, like, he got out 266, 66 for lack of a better price. Like, he would just kind of hit the same key over and over again. I do it myself. I was offering in front of the missed trade on this is a kind of a bad thing to show because I missed the trade. But I missed this short here because I was at 102.88. I'm going to offer in the 80s in front of that 103. Well, let's just go to 88. Why not? If it gets that fill, if it gets there, it's probably going to get all the way to 103 anyways. It does not. Misfill. 103 was a great level. Congratulations. Congratulations! No, that's too loud now. Whatever we did, now that's all way too loud. I'm sorry, guys. The volume on the other ones was so low. If I had known, I'm not going to try to shock anybody. If you're wearing headphones, sorry about that. It's in my nature. When we're Canadian, we have to apologize for things when they happen like that. So AMD, missed opportunity. I can hit this. See, that doesn't have a sound with it. Fail at the 103. If you like one level, trade one level. That's the 103. Still like it tomorrow. Maybe it's a breakout. Maybe it's a flush off that with 2 minutes to go. What is AMC doing? Holding up a little bit here. Not too bad for AMC. Stair step to the upside. The Ape, what was it? Ape beer or Ape ale? Whatever. The Ape ale, the catalyst, and it's still going higher for this one. Let's see what happens. I kind of feel as if tomorrow, if it's not going through $9, then this is still going to be a short to pop situation. With just over 1 minute to go, there was an imbalance on Palantir, as I was mentioning. Not a heck of a lot of movement. It didn't really do anything. And then a bit of a pair off as well. So, Palantir still around that $15, but nothing doing. There's your bottom on NEO. It looks like that's the bottom. It just got down to 840. No more size on the offer, so that's abated. It was a buy imbalance, so it makes sense that there would have been buyers at some point, but less than 1 minute to go. It'll be SSR tomorrow. like a whole host of other names, like a whole host of nasty names will be SSR that we'll have to pay attention to. And no TK McAllister. NEO is not hitting $15 tomorrow. It might SSR bounce. I think if it SSR bounces, you're pretty happy if it hits $9.50. If it hits $9, I think you're happy with that. You know, the flat bottom break, I like the $9.50 level. I tried 9, it was like $9.01 to $8.99. But yeah, it's not going to $15 tomorrow. Maybe it gets there at some point in the future. But that future is a long ways away for NIO. 20 seconds to go. I don't know who is on the bell, but it looks like, oh, it is our newest member of the team. I'm sure you guys all saw the short of Dara. Fantastic job with that setup. But get the cameras off me. You can stand anywhere you want to ring the bell. It doesn't really matter as long as you don't break our eardrums in 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it. There you go. So, as you guys all did see today, if you're following along on Twitter, we did, and on social media, Dara with a nice pre-market update and a good preview of what's going on through the day. New member of the team there. We're excited to see her debut. So hopefully you enjoy what she brought to the table, and more to come in the future. Close on NEO down 17% at about 857. AMC also making a bit of a bounce at the end of the day there. But the big story all day long was Instacart. It got shellacked off the open, continued to head to the downside. I promise you that's going to get discussed in the after show along with our guest, Mr. Shannon. I know you stole my book up there to talk about anchored VWAP. I want to shout out the ones and twos. Fabian Remain doing a fantastic job. Mark fixing some issues that we had with that position board before. And a great job, as always, on the midday. That dude that looked like Sharif without hair. And, of course, Obi doing a fantastic job as Max is somewhere in South America. But let's get away from me. Let's go to the desk. We've got the aftermarket show with Sean.
Hey guys, welcome to the recap show. Yes, I'm Sean Katina, and if you haven't got enough of me, well, you got a half hour more right now. So it's